Okay, boys, so this is the last part of the lesson, the reasons using triangles. So you need to know how to quote these properly when you're using reasons. So I've written two reasons down for equilateral triangles. Mostly in geometry you will be finding angles, but there's a few questions in the book where they're asking about the sides. So we're going to do both, but this is the most important one for your future in maths. That if you're dealing with an equilateral triangle, we already know a lot about equilateral triangles from the work we've just done, but this is how you write your reason. Equal angles in an equilateral triangle. We already know that that happens, but that's how you write the reason. The other reason that you might be using if you happen to be dealing with sides is equal sides in an equilateral triangle. Now down here with isosceles triangle, we have two reasons. Again, the most important one for everything in the future of geometry for you is to do with the angles. So it's equal angles opposite equal sides in an isosceles triangle. So an isosceles triangle, you know there's equal sides there, two equal sides, but it's the angles we're normally trying to prove. So we write equal angles opposite the equal sides because you know that that's where they are. To find the equal angles, they are always opposite the equal sides in an isosceles triangle. And the other reason is just equal sides in an isosceles triangle. So I know it sounds a bit confusing, but it's really important you learn how to write these reasons properly now. Okay, so in the first, there's three examples to do here. We're finding the value of the pronumerals, which we all know now, I hope, are letters. And we have to give reasons, or you're going to just lose marks if you don't. Okay, so if we have a look at this one, we can see we have an isosceles triangle with the two equal sides marked. And they're trying to get you to find the value of that x down there. So I hope you can see that x is going to be 42 degrees. Now we've got to tell them why. So with reasons, we generally will write it next to where we're using the reason. So we're going to write it in brackets next to it. I know it's a bit hard with your columns to fit it in, but just take a few lines to get it written down there if you can. Okay, so if we go from this equal side that they gave us, opposite it, and go from the other equal side opposite it, you are pointing at two equal angles. So we are using the reason equal angles are opposite the equal sides in an isosceles triangle. You can leave out and if you like. But the important words have to be there. Okay, in B, if we have a look up there, they have given you an X and an X. Now that means if they've been labelled with the same letter, they are equal angles. So we're going to go opposite those equal angles. And we are going to be pointing at two equal sides. So I haven't actually written this reason down right over here. I'm going to change it a bit here. We might adjust it over there in a minute. So we are now pointing at two equal sides. So that means that this and this are equal. So that means that L will equal 4.8 centimetres. And the reason, you've got to be careful not to write it the same way as this one. Now we're talking about what we're actually doing with the sides. So we're going to write equal sides are opposite equal angles. You don't have to write it's in an isosceles triangle there because the definition of an isosceles triangle is just that the sides are equal. We don't even know that yet. So you can just write that down. Just look at what you're doing when you do your crossing over with these red marks and go, what have I just done? Here, I'm saying that the equal angles are opposite the equal sides that they gave you. And here, I'm saying that the equal sides are opposite the equal angles that they gave you. Okay, so try and write it in the right order if you can. Right down here, this one's an equilateral triangle. It's got 60, 60 and 60. Three equal angles means we must have three equal sides. Okay, so we'll write that in red so you remember what you're doing. Three equal angles means three equal sides. It means we must have three equal sides. Okay, So that means that A, B and 17.2 all have to be the same. Okay, so we'll do them one at a time. A is going to equal 17.2 metres. And we know that B is also going to equal 17.2 metres. And the reason for both of them is going to be the same. So we're just going to write down equal sides. Now you can write equal sides opposite equal angles here. And just leave it at that because we don't really know it's an equilateral triangle until we prove that the sides are equal. And they didn't give you those. So that's how I would write it. So some of them are a little bit different to how I've written them over here, but because you have to adjust a little bit. So mainly with these, you're working on sides and angles opposite each other being the same. So if you've got equal sides, the angles opposite them are equal. If you've got equal angles, the sides opposite them are equal. And you're just working with those. So just play around a bit with it. If you're stuck with it, please let me know. And good luck with your homework. There's not too much tonight.